recent years, the approach of Poland's ruling right-wing Law and Justice Party in remembering and commemorating that country's role in World War II has occasionally spurred controversy, including charges that the Nationalist Party has sought to downplay the level of Polish anti-Semitism during the Nazi period. But now a new dispute has arisen over the government's handling of a museum in the city of Gdansk that looks back at Polish history during the war period. And our culture correspondent, Maya Margit, is here with more. And Maya, just give us the background on this latest controversy involving the Polish government, looking back on maybe or revising history there.
Right, so this is the Museum of the Second World War in Gdansk. It's a huge institution. It was supposed to be the major World War II museum of Poland. They basically spent about 110 million euros, if I'm not mistaken, on it. A huge undertaking, but the director of the museum was fired earlier this year. His name is Paweł Mackiewicz, and he was fired for ideological reasons, because he went against the right-wing Law and Justice Party, the Polish government, in trying to revise. They wanted to revise many of the displays. He had a more universal kind of approach to things. He wanted to include the suffering of many different peoples, whereas the government wanted to focus on Polish heroism, the positive aspect of the way Polish people were during the Second World War. And this is what Paweł, the former director, had to say about it.
The ruling party and the government have repeatedly criticized our museum, accusing us of not presenting history from a Polish point of view and of paying too much attention to the fate of other nations.
Maya, that seems like a very delicate way of masking something. What is the Polish point of view of World War II, and what is it that the government is trying to change about the museum?
Well, it depends on who you ask what the Polish role was during World War II. Of course, it's a very touchy subject. It was a very difficult time period for the Polish people as well as other groups, like the Jews. But what happened is they removed the director and they dismissed him. And then not only that, they decided that they appointed someone from the government that would head the museum. And they decided that some of the displays needed to be corrected, and this is a quote from the spokesman of the museum. So what is one of the things that they corrected? First of all, one of the first things they changed is a film. There was a film illustrating the long-term effects of the war, kind of a universal look at what happened after the war. It was replaced by an animated film that looked specifically at Polish history in the 20th century. So more of a narrowing of the focus onto Polish history, greater influence, and then they changed some of the other displays to look at Catholic priests during the war, how, what they did to try to save the Jews. Also focusing on, Polish people who tried to hide the Jews from the Nazis and from the Germans. So definitely shifting.
The stories which many people have said about Polish anti-Semitism during the war,
right,
in which also you, if not collaborated with the Nazis, certainly acted against the Jews during that period, and even, of course, after the war in a couple of notorious episodes.
Right, so more focusing on the positive aspects of Polish history during that time. And now what's happening is that there are 500 local and foreign academics who penned an open letter to the Polish government describing the changes being made as, quote, barbaric. And I'll just read you a quote from the open letter. They said that it's being turned into a propaganda institution designed to give Poland a special role in the history of the Second World War while presenting the universal character of human suffering. We treat the changes as unacceptable, even barbaric. So it's very strong wording, and this has been going on for quite some time now, but the right-wing government is unlikely to change its position. As it said during its campaign before it was elected in 2015, it said that one of its first things would be to change this museum and change the narrative that is there.
You know what? Just want to point out remarkable that I was in Poland when it was ruled by the communist government and went to Auschwitz, where the role of Jews in Auschwitz was downplayed by the communist government. It didn't want to identify the victims specifically as Jews. That was revived after the fall of communism, and now another Polish government is revising history in another direction. It certainly shows you how the shifts of politics can change not only the future but the past.
Maya Margit, thank you very much for helping us shed light on this problem.